The 5th annual PinkNews Awards will take place on the 18th of October, and PinkNews is delighted to unveil the shortlisted nominees in all awards categories. The awards will take place on the 18th of October from 6:30 p.m. at 1 Great George Street in the heart of Westminster. It will celebrate the contributions of politicians, businesses, campaigners and community groups to improving LGBT life in the UK and beyond. The Public Sector Award celebrates the contribution of public sector organisations in the fight for equality in the UK and abroad. Use the link below to vote for your favourites. Check out the nominees here. British Army. The British Army supports LGBT employees in a number of ways, including LGBT-friendly policies through the Army Diversity and Inclusion Plan, providing comprehensive guidance on assignments where LGBT people may be at extra risk, enforcing a zero-tolerance approach to bullying and harassment, a wide network of diversity advisors, and providing training to all employees. The well-established Army Employee Support Network, with a new Straight Allies Network soon to be launched, holds annual conferences and is consulted to inform employment policy. Mentoring and support is also offered through the network, and the Army prides itself on offering the network as support through times like gender transition. A board-level champion on LGBT issues informs future policy at the highest level of the organization, and senior management. Straight Allies help to ensure LGBT representation at all levels of the organization at Pride and other LGBT events. GCHQ supports LGBT employees throughout their career in a number of ways, from training vetting officers to be supportive of individual requirements of LGBT staff to supporting staff through transition or giving extra guidance to staff deployed overseas to hostile and LGBT-intolerant locations. Mentoring schemes and an LGBT leadership program also enhance GCHQ's support of LGBT staff, as well as an LGBT staff network which was established 2 decades ago. The LGBT network at GCHQ provides a community for LGBT staff, as well as being able to influence policy, commission training and offer consultancy advice to leadership. Diversity has been integrated into other corporate services such as employee assistance, diversity officers, dignity at work advisors, occupational health and security. GCHQ makes extra efforts to recognize intersectionality and has done a lot of work with non-binary gender identity, asexuality, polysexuality and other identities. LGBT efforts also work in tandem with BAME, disability and women's networks in order to recognize that LGBT inclusion cannot work in isolation. As well as its employee network and inclusion policies, GCHQ also serves the LGBT community through working to prevent targeted attacks in light of attacks such as the mass shooting at Orlando Pulse. GCHQ also works with a range of external organizations such as LGBT youth groups to provide extra outward support and to learn more about LGBT requirements. The RAF proudly supports LGBT people across its 40,000-strong employee base around the world. The RAF LGBT Freedom Network supports LGBT employees and allies across the world. The RAF prides itself on strides towards equality and inclusion since it became legal for LGBT personnel to serve openly in 2000. As well as the network, the RAF offers a dedicated senior advocate to engage on behalf of the LGBT community in the senior space, policy staffs who commit to improving the lived experience of LGBT personnel through training and engagement initiatives. The network utilizes LGBT and allies who volunteer to act as representatives at unit level, which is particularly important for those working in rural areas away from urban hubs or across the globe. The RAF also runs a reverse mentoring program, meaning senior leaders are informed of the needs of LGBT personnel. When considering those not serving in uniform but working alongside the RAF, contractors are monitored closely to adhere to non-discrimination policies, and diversity and inclusion is discussed in meetings with suppliers. The RAF aims to inwardly and outwardly create an organizational space where each individual can thrive and has the right opportunities to achieve their full potential. NHS Employers represents and supports the 500 NHS trusts across England and has a specific remit for helping the trusts to aspire to best practice in terms of equality, diversity and inclusion. A partners program has been used in recent years by NHS employers to facilitate learning and sharing, including talking about sexual orientation monitoring standards which are being introduced in the NHS. NHS Employers also supports the NHS Equality and Diversity Council, including contributing to NHS Equality Week, LGBT History Month, blogs from LGBT champions and Pride events. NHS Employers' mission is to ensure to support the NHS to follow good HR practices in order for that to translate to better service for patients. The organization has recently worked with the University of York to address the impact of LGBT staff networks, and works with key parties to highlight the importance of LGBT leaders. The equality delivery system is another way NHS employers is committed to ensuring that the best level of care is offered by the NHS and through supply chains. Transport for London TfL has a vision for diversity and inclusion that centres on the core belief that every person matters when keeping London moving, working and growing. TfL's Action on Equality sets out its commitments to promoting equality and inclusion for its customers, staff and stakeholders alike. This includes how TfL is working to create a fully inclusive culture, where everyone, regardless of background, can realize their talent and potential. TfL has a vital role to play in helping to create a fairer society through the services it provides in driving equality through its supply chain. TfL also provides in-house training, which is available to all of its staff, emphasizing the importance of creating a welcoming environment to all of its employees, and managers are provided with support to positively manage LGBT staff. There is also a 247 confidential and independent reporting service called SafeLine, which allows staff to express any concerns they may have about discrimination. TfL also regularly engages with its employees through surveys and uses the anonymous feedback to help identify and tackle issues, such as those LGBT people can face. The LGBT network at TfL, Outbound, is involved in influencing change at all levels of the organization and works with TfL to celebrate a range of important milestones, including Pride, LGBT History Month and Trans Awareness Week. Wolverhampton Homes embraces and celebrates diversity among staff and customers and has a proud track record of ensuring equality and diversity are at the forefront of all activities. An equality in employment policy and code of conduct sets up the framework for equality, and the LGBT staff network Proud to be Me has the full backing of the company's chief executive. The network is made up of 20 staff volunteers across Wolverhampton Homes and aims to improve the lives of LGBT people working and living in Wolverhampton and to raise the profile on LGBT equality. The staff network is gaining momentum since being established in 2013, and has inspired colleagues to pledge support to its activities. The PTBM network has also been recognized nationally and has been invited to speak at Stonewall events to share best practice. Wolverhampton Homes recognizes the social hardships of people living in Wolverhampton and the added pressures of coming to terms with sexual orientation or gender identity. The organization recognizes that providing housing for the City of Wolverhampton Council is not where its remit ends, but that it has a social responsibility in all aspects of community and personal well-being. Your Homes Newcastle YHN has strong policies to ban discrimination on the grounds of sexual orientation or gender identity and a policy to use inclusive language. A zero-tolerance approach to bullying and harassment is in place, and dress codes, a transitioning at work policy and approaches to maternity and adoption leave reflect a need for equality and diversity. A dedicated team is responsible for implementing the equality and diversity strategy and to disseminate knowledge and good practice relating to sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity and inclusion. Targets are set relating to sexual orientation and gender identity, and progress is reported to YHN's board and its committees. Senior champions are also visible throughout YHN on LGBT equality and diversity, and YHN's managing director is fully supportive of work done. YHN marks Northern Pride with members present in the parade, and the email-protected staff network has a dedicated budget. Network members are given time out of their working hours to attend meetings and undertake work on behalf of the group. Awareness is raised by email-protected as well as providing support and organizing social events for members. Click here for the form to vote for your favorites for the PinkNews Awards 2017. The PinkNews Awards is generously supported by Lloyds Banking Group.